Question number 9, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Corrections and asks, is she satisfied with her department's system of contracting providers and approving residences for offenders with a pervasive pattern of serious sexual offending against children who the High Court has found are at high risk of further sexual offending?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, yes, I have full confidence in Corrections to undertake its duties under the law.
Supplementary question, Sue Williams Theo.
To the Minister, what process and criteria were used by her department to determine that it was okay for a child sex offender to be placed near a school like Jean Batten in Mangere, despite her department being aware that the offender had raped a 13-year-old girl and is of high risk of reoffending?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Well, Mr Speaker, given that Section 7(3) of the Corrections Act means that I am not able to give directions about the exercise of powers and functions in relation to a particular person, does make it a bit difficult to deal with that particular question, but I'm happy to help the member by advising the House of the criteria that Corrections looks at when it approves residences for placements, and that I hope that that will help him with his answer. The public safety is obviously the primary priority for Corrections. They consider proximity to schools, preschools. They note that, as a guide, a child sex offender should not live within 1 kilometre of such facilities, but in cities 500 metres may be more realistic. They look at proximity to playgrounds, parks, reserves, public swimming pools, churches, thoroughfares, residences with young families, other places frequented by children, shared driveways or facilities, proximity to victims, proximity to counselling and support services and availability of transport to these, any evidence of children under 16 residing at the address, suitability of other occupants and neighbours, whether they have children and are aware of the offending. Community Corrections also check with the other involved professionals such as mental health teams, child, youth and family, police to determine whether they approve of the proposed address.
Wow, what an answer.
Sue Williams Theo, supplementary question.
Is it correct that under an extended supervision order, there can only be intensive monitoring for 12 months and that this monitoring cannot be renewed? And if so, is she satisfied that electronic bracelets alone will protect young women or children from these sexual predators who are of high risk of reoffending?
Again, there's 2 supplementaries. The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, I understand that the member may be misinformed on that. I understand that there's a particular person who has been on intensive monitoring for 10 years and has now still got intensive monitoring, so quite clearly people do in fact have monitoring that's extended.
Supplementary question, Mahesh Bindra.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, if this government claims to protect New Zealanders from disgusting sexual predators, how on earth does a sexual offender end up on a bracelet and not locked up as they should be?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, I would have thought it was obvious they've finished their sentence.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Is a property just over 500 metres from a school, with 31 children living in the immediate vicinity, a suitable place to house Robert John McCorkindale, who has 3 sets of convictions dating back to 1987 for sexual offences on girls as young as 4, including abduction with the intent to have sexual intercourse, and who the High Court found in April this year is at high risk of further serious sexual offending?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, it would be outside of the Corrections Act and the law for me to comment about a particular matter and whether or not the placement was suitable. I would, however, note that Corrections always reviews these sorts of placements, and particularly where there is concern expressed by the public.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Does she agree with the Corrections Regional Director that the 1 kilometre or 500 metre distance from school special condition should be measured by a circuitous route around roads when this paedophile can jump the back fence at his place of detention and be in the local school's new entrance playground in less than 3 minutes.
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, I'm concerned that the member obviously hasn't heard that I am not able to make comment about particular placements given the Corrections Act, but I am, however, happy to say to him, and the concern that he has...
Order. Order. This is a very serious matter. I don't want...
That the person that he has named, I understand, has already spent 10 years in the community under intensive supervision, and I am assured that in that time he has not reoffended. I think it would also be helpful to the member if he knew that intensive supervision, or intensive monitoring rather in this case, means someone with him 24 hours, 7 days a week, and as well as GPS monitoring, and that, as I've just said, he's been in the community for 10 years without offending.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Does the Minister agree with advice given by Corrections to the neighbouring parents of 5- and 6-year-old girls who for years have had a paddling pool on their deck, now overlooked by this paedophile, that they should modify their parenting and have their girls play on the other side of their house?
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, if that report is accurate, then that would seem to be an inappropriate comment.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Is Corrections' system of approving residences robust when this paedophile has a shower in a room with clear windows overlooking the street? And what does she say to the parents of passing preschool girls who will be the stimulation for his masturbation?
There are 2 questions there. The Honourable Judith Collins can choose to answer either one.
Well, Mr Speaker, I have a great deal of sympathy for members of the public and parents who know that there are, in fact, many, unfortunately, sex offenders living in our communities. In this particular case, we know where he is. He is under 24 hours, 7-day-a-week individual monitoring. He has someone with him all that time. And I am sure that this matter, as I've been advised by Corrections, is being reviewed, as all of their placements are, when there's any concerns raised by members of the public.
Question number 10.